towards his fantasy. He used to believe in something would happen. Mills for liberty. Gnostic sex cult, building his own world. A Gnostic sex cult, unhinged from reality. Totally lost in what can we do? But mock him relentlessly. It's not a Gnostic sex cult, James. No, it's not. Stop lying to your audience. No, it's not. It's not Gnostic change. Grip Mary Nardini tells us queer liberation means the annihilation of capitalism. Catch up, James. Whiteness means capitalism. Queer theory hates capitalism. Whiteness means capitalism. Queer theory hates capitalism. Whiteness means capitalism. It's all about capitalism. Everyone knows it's capitalism. The socialists know it's capitalism. Wake up, James. It's capitalism. Whoa. The socialists know it's capitalism. Wake up, James. It's capitalism. It's all about capitalism. Everyone knows it's capitalism. The socialists know it's capitalism. Wake up, James. It's capitalism. It's capitalism. To pocket all that money from the mills for liberty. The left hates capitalism, but James won't admit it. He refuses to believe queer theory stabilizes normativity, gender binary, and the nuclear family. But James blocks the truth, smears people who try to show him, creates an echo chamber for himself to reinforce his fantasy. Is to believe in something. What happens for liberty? Gnostic sex cult, building his own world. Gnostic sex cult, unhinged from reality. He's totally lost it. What can we do but mock him relentlessly?
Well, hello, fellow Gnostic sex cultists. Can you hear me okay? Is everything coming through? Is everything working? Is the internet working in the hotel? Let me know. Let me know. Well, here I am in Detroit. I had a 6 a.m. flight. I got maybe an hour and a half of sleep last night, which is pretty great because I was up all night thinking about some of the things we're going to talk about on this stream. And so I didn't get a lot of sleep, and I had to get up and go to the airport for a 6 a.m. flight, which is just as fun as it sounds. And I got pulled out of line for additional screening at TSA, even though I have TSA pre, and I wasn't happy about that. And I didn't even have a mimosa at the airport because the bar wasn't open yet because it was too damn early. Oh, look, Milk Tea Grapers here. Hi, Milk Tea Graper. Milk Tea Graper, I brought the Groyper shawl just for you. Goes, oh, I got to block the Groyper shawl. I was supposed to do that earlier. Whatever. I'll do it after the stream. Yes. So I did just order food, and I got a giant ass baked potato with cheese and jalapenos and bacon, and I think there's Italian sausage or something. And that baked potato is good. You can't go wrong. You can't ever go wrong when you're ordering food from a place that specializes in giant ass baked potatoes. I mean, come on, you can't screw that up. It works on anything. And I got a really giant strawberry cookie that they also included that is also very good. So that was exciting. And what's most exciting is I really haven't been having that many carbs for a couple weeks because of the accidental keto diet that I went on, where I was just eating keto food, not necessarily because I wanted to do the keto diet, but I I was trying out a bunch of recipes, and so I was just eating a bunch of keto food. And I feel like my body has now acclimated to like not having carbs, and I just ate a giant ass cookie. So this is going to bode well for me. I'm probably going to be a little crazy, and that's going to bode well for you guys. Because I don't think I've had this much sugar in like, well, a minute now. So whatever. Okay. So the first thing I want to address is actually not even on the agenda. It's based on a super chat that Murphy's Pool sent yesterday. And I forgot to read the super chat. So this was on the conversation that I had with Mike Tremont, the Libertarian vice presidential candidate. And so Murphy's Pool was the only one that sent in a super chat, and he asked me a question. I just didn't answer it. And I know some of you have the same question because I've been talking about it behind the scenes, and like, whatever, I'll talk about it publicly. So Murphy's Pool asked about Victor's car. Now, this has been an ongoing drama for like 2 effing weeks now, and it is finally resolved. And I know all of you are anxious for an update on Victor's car, which is not a good update. Which is that, okay, so Victor 8 years ago got like his dream car that he's always dreamed about having, and it was a Subaru WRX, and it's white, and it was exactly what he wanted, and it was like he like, according to him, it was like a miracle this model even showed up and was available, and like all this stuff. And I went along with it because I love my husband and I want him to be happy. So he got his car, whatever. So he spent the last 8 years like babying this car and buying stuff for this car is Victor's pride and joy. This car is everything to Victor. Victor will go out on drives just to drive the car. Victor was doing DoorDash for a while, not because he necessarily needed the money or anything else other than he just wanted to drive his car around. And he was like, well, if I'm driving around anyway, I might as well do DoorDash, like whatever. So this car is Victor's baby. Well, 2 weeks ago, Victor was driving home and the car starts making some funny noises. And then comes the adventure of trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with the car. And so to make a long story short, Victor blew the engine on his car. And I wasn't happy about it. And I've been in a bitchy mood about it because it was going to cost $12,000 fucking dollars to replace. And this is an 8-year-old Subaru WRX with 100,000 miles on it. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this on like 19 different levels. First of all, I am not unconvinced that my husband didn't drive the car too hard. I've been in the car with my husband when he was driving it, and I'm just saying that I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not trying to blame my husband for anything, but I know the way my husband drives that car, and I'm just saying that there might be a reason the engine blew after 8 years and 100,000 fucking miles. But we're not here to assign blame. I wasn't in the car with him when it happened. I don't know for sure, but I was a little peeved about that. And then I was a little peeved at like the idea of putting a $12,000 engine in the goddamn car. And then Victor made the smart choice, and he did it in consultation with me, but he made the choice like to give up his dream car that he always wanted and get, for right now, we're just leasing like a Subaru Impreza or whatever. But I will say this, I can actually drive the Impreza because I can't drive a standard. I can't drive a stick. So I couldn't drive Victor's WRX, but like I can actually drive this car, and I was driving it around the other day, and I think it's actually kind of fun to drive, and it's much better than my car. So I'm like, Victor, we got a new car. See, here's the thing, like Victor, neither Victor or I really drive a lot. And now I'm like, you know what? This actually kind of worked out for me. I was a little bit pissed off at first, but I've come around to it because this effectively means that I get a new car too. Because we're married, and what's mine is his, and what his is mine. And that means his car is basically my car. And so, you know, whatever. So that is the update on Victor's car, the great drama of the last 2 weeks. And I am actually like legitimately sad for my husband. This is something like, it sounds stupid to have like sentimental value about a car, right? But like, this was his thing. Like when he came to the United States, this was his thing. And, you know, it's like we all have our things, right? So I was legitimately sad for him that the engine blew. Totally, definitely not his fault. The engine blew after 8 years and 100,000 miles. That's sad. But moving on. No, confirmed. He is not here. But here's the thing. So the reason I wanted to do this stream is that a lot of you have been asking me about it. And I know not everyone saw the stream the other day with him. And that, you know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what I'm talking about. But let's just say it could have gone better. And, you know, enough of you were there and enough of you have been asking me about it that I want to just like make my position on it very clear. And I just want to talk about it a little bit. And you know, he doesn't know that I'm doing this, and I don't know that he's going to be happy with it, but that's just the way it goes. So I talked to him last night for a little bit. I'm not going to go into the details of what we talked about. And that's just like a general rule, by the way. Like, this isn't about this specific thing in particular. It's just like a general rule that, like, you know, like what happens in a private conversation should actually in real life stay in a private conversation. And thank you. Aaron, where were you? You were supposed to come. I was trying to peer pressure all my internet boys into coming to Detroit, and none of them bit. Oh well. Oh well. You did, Sin, you did a Joe Dispenza meditation to calm down. Yeah, like, listen, man, Joe Dispenza is a lot of things, and I don't think all those things are good by any means, and he's certainly not my hero like some people said he was, but Joe Dispenza's meditations are good, man. They're good. They do the job. They do the trick. Anyway, so what I want, so we talked for a bit last night, and you know, I guess I want to lead with this. Here's the lead on the BigTech situation. I don't want anyone to be mad at him. I am not mad at him. I'm not upset at him. This is not going to be an internet feud. This is not going to be any of those things. I don't want that. He doesn't want that. And I really, 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 really don't want people to be upset at him. Because here's the thing. Like, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to talk about like what we talked about in any sort of like specifics on some things, but I like, just in general, I don't agree with his position on why he did what he did. And I certainly don't think that I don't agree with some of the things he did. I don't. He doesn't agree with some of the things I did. That's fine. That's actually probably fair. But what I will say is that I don't think he had like negative intent. I don't think he was trying to be a dick. I don't think he was trying to be an asshole. I really, really don't. And so I don't want people to be upset at him, because some of the things, and we're going to talk about one of those specific things today that I have a very different opinion of him than him on, the incel question. I don't think he had negative intent in making me feel bad. I don't think that was like what he was doing. I don't think he was being a crybaby human centipede. I don't think he was. Listen, like, he does have a rationale for why he did what he did. And okay, so let me give one example. So the incel question is something I want to talk about more today, because I have a very distinct opinion on this that he does not agree with, but that I feel has been like kind of a little tiny bit like weaponized against me. And I want to be very clear about what my position on that is. Now, the reason that he was so uppity when we were talking about the incel question, again, if you don't know what I'm talking about because you didn't watch it, don't worry about it. But like, the reason that was such an issue is he thought he wanted to stand up for his audience. Now, his audience, okay. His audience and my audience are very, 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 very different. And so when we're doing streams like that, where we're streaming it both on my channel to my audience, and he's streaming it on his channel to his audience, like, you guys don't all go together. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that one audience is better than the other. He and I just have very different audiences, okay? He has a lot of young men, many of whom consider themselves to be incels, in his audience. And he wanted to stand up for them because he felt as though I was not fully understanding their situation, and he felt as though I was like being rude to them. Now, I can kind of see his point, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more when we get to the incel question. But what I want you to know is, like, he wasn't just being mean to me. He was standing up for his audience. Now, the same thing happened later in the stream when we were arguing about whether or not the radical revolutionary far left is completely decentralized, or are they dependent on, well, the chosen people, right? And so I got aggravated at him because I like, he understands at a high level what we do. He's watched some of my socialism streams. He understands it at kind of like, he kind of gets the basic mise en scène, but he doesn't know as much as we know about this issue. On the same token, I don't know as much as he does about some of the things that he's really into, right? So he is an expert in some things, I'm an expert in other things. And it was one of those situations where it was like, and he might not agree with this, that's fine. I don't think he doesn't know what he doesn't know. And it was in that situation where like it didn't make sense for us to stop the entire stream and walk him through a history of like everything that he doesn't know that we do know. And it was one of those things where it was just like a much more complicated question than than it was actually reasonable to have in that conversation. And so, like, I guess what I want to say is in that part of the conversation, I felt like I was defending my audience and what you guys were saying in the chat and what we have done, that he doesn't fully understand the depth of it. That's not an insult. That's just reality, in the same way that I don't fully understand the depths of what him and his audience understand about what they're into. Okay. So it's kind of one of those things where like we were kind of doing the same thing. We were like, he was doing it to defend his audience. I was doing it to defend my audience. And both of us were unappreciative of how the other was speaking because we are broadcasting off to different audiences. So that's the type of miscommunication that happened. And so like, even though I don't agree with him on the incel question, and I don't appreciate how he handled that particular thing, he also didn't appreciate how I handled the other thing, okay? So it's kind of like with stuff like that, you have to consider it a wash. And the reason I want to talk about this is like, I do want to be able to have conversations with him. I don't want you guys to be pissed off at him because you think that I feel bullied or I feel hurt or I feel like any of those things, because the feedback I've gotten on like some of our previous conversations, like you guys like have liked them. And so I think that he's someone that I do want to have like a working relationship with, because I think that he and I are similar in some ways, and we are very, very different in other ways. And I think that we are in a position to have some conversations that I think would not only be just like fun to have in general, but that would be like beneficial to an audience. Like, I want to be able to have those conversations, and I don't want to be able to have to go back and like relitigate this, because the thing too on streams is that you don't always think through what you're going to say, right? You just kind of go like off the cuff. And so, with like, you didn't need to call. I mean, this is the biggest thing that you guys were upset about, right? That he kept calling. And I'll say like that was one of the things that upset me. And the reason that it upset me is because like, it's not like he's never called me a retard before that I can remember. When I call someone a retard, I'm actually saying, you are stupid. You are beneath me. I think you're actually just functionally stupid. I don't want you. Like I'm being a bitch when I call someone a retard. His intent was not to be a dick. He was treating me like a buddy. Okay. That's what it was. He was treating me like a buddy. And, men do that sort of stuff with other men where they call each other names and they tease each other and they give each other shit. And it's not like, it's not meant to be taken personally. Okay. Now, I don't know why he would have thought that I would have thought that that was joking, given that he's never called me a retard before, but he didn't mean it as like a bad thing. And so those are like kind of like my thoughts on that. And I just want to make sure everyone knows that like I'm not mad at him. I'm not upset. And more importantly, I don't want you guys to be upset at him. and I don't want you guys to be mad at him, and I don't want you guys to hold it over his head, and I don't want you to do anything like that, and I don't want you to elicit some sort of revenge strategy. I don't want to do that. I do not want to be in an internet feud with this guy. A, because he would be a giant pain in the ass if I was in an internet feud with him, and I don't want to deal with that. And B, I just don't want to. Okay, so I am, like, you guys are my cult, apparently. I'm ordering you to forgive him. Oh, Nick just got kicked out of Turning Point USA. I'm in a Turning Point USA hotel. And I know that because there's a big ass Turning Point USA like thing when I walk into it. I didn't intend to book the Turning Point USA hotel. What did Nick do? Hang on. Breaking news. Where did you see this information? Did he tweet it out or something? Yeah, we're going to talk about the incel thing in a sec. Hang on. I just want to see what's going on the Nick Fuentes front. No, I just got here like a couple hours ago and took a nap. Well, I didn't really take a nap. I wanted to take a nap, so I have not seen. I'm not, like, AFPAC's not till tomorrow, so we'll talk about AFPAC in a minute. Let's see. Nick Fuentes, the Mexican white supremacist. Oh, Jake Shields is there too. Hang on, let me put Loomer is on the case, guys. Laura Loomer is on the case. Let's hear what happened. Hang on, let me load this so I can actually play the sound. Laura Loomer and Nick Fuentes are now in a bitter internet breakup. I haven't seen anyone here yet, guys. Hang on. Let's see what happened. No, you can't even hear anything. All that work to get the sound set up and you can't hear anything. Dang. All right. I'm not in Chicago, Beth. I'm in Detroit. I was in Chicago for like half an hour. Oh, someone posted a link. Is it actually on Nick's Twitter? I don't see a link in the chat. Hang on, maybe I have to do a live chat to see it. Sorry, guys, we're doing some breaking news because Nick Fuentes apparently got kicked out of Turning Point USA, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to find breaking news on Twitter, and I'm having to navigate on a laptop instead of my usual computer. Stand by. Oh, Nick, looking sharp. Okay, let's just look at these search results. Let's just look at these here as search results. Hang on. Hang on, please. This goes along with the AFPAC theme anyway, because we're going to talk about AFPAC today. All right, okay. Share screen. Okay, so Nick, looking sharp, red sweater. Oh, no, that's from past years. Well, what the hell? What's going on with him? Why can't I find what's going on? Why can't I find video? Oh, here's video. Okay, excellent. What happened?
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
Not allowed in.
Boo. Big Shields is flawed.
He's got a bad.
Criticize Israel at Turning Point.
He's here to review like the rest of us. One of the higher ups want to talk to us.
It's like, is it Israel? Israel Turning Point?
What was
the
reason?
American event or is it Israel event? I thought this was American First Amendment,
What's the reason he gave you?
What's up?
What's the reason he gave you?
They didn't give a reason.
They just said you're just not allowed. I've just been informed. By who?
Hold me. Am I being detained?
No. I clearly broken rules other than criticize Israel. I thought we're an American, not Israel. That was my take.
Yeah, the field rep said he was fine. I mean, no, we're in America.
Is America? Is this America? It doesn't feel like America. Does this feel like America?
Yeah,
Well,
Security's just doing their job. I mean,
I don't know. Is there anyone we could talk to? Or
Bring the conference
just
up.
from the higher ups?
Yeah.
Walk
Talk to
around,
higher ups?
go upstairs, and the whole building.
Well, why doesn't the higher up?
They're all so young.
this guy's getting criminally trespassed.
You could just talk to the higher up. I'm curious why he didn't get out.
Why am I getting kicked out? What'd I do?
We're just curious about this America, and there's no reason to get out.
Oh, I don't like that.
What did he
I think
say?
I remember you.
I'm curious.
Well,
What was his offense? But why though? What did he do? Did he criticize Israel?
I don't.
Can you not criticize Israel in America?
Well, I do. Because Israel controls this event.
Oh, there's Dalton. Dalton is my favorite person on Twitter. Dalton is like the next Howard Stern.
America first! 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 America first!
Dalton has way better hair than BigTech. Oh, there they go. All right, breaking news. Nick got kicked out of Turning Point. It didn't actually look all that eventful. All right. So is everyone cool? Like, we're resolved with BigTech. We don't hate him. He's fine. He didn't do nothing wrong. Whatever. I want to talk about the incel question, though, because, like, the incel part was the part where, well, let's just say clips have been made that I don't appreciate. And that was one of the sections that, like, really pissed me off when I was on the stream, because it was basically, like, we were, like, so what he said, like, I guess the disagreement we were having was, like, do incels really exist or not? Like, are young men involuntarily celibate? And this is something that, so this is one of the things we talked about last night. And I'm not going to go into, like, the details of what we discussed, but I will say this. He did give me some different perspective on his position, because we did talk about just getting more into, like, the inner workings of what makes someone an incel. And he obviously has spent more time with incels than I have, because a lot of his people in his audience are incels, and he was running around with Nick Fuentes for a while. And so he understands incels way more than I do. Or people, I would say people who identify as incel, probably, because I'm still retaining my position that I don't think incel is a real thing. And I'm going to talk about that, but I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. And I hope for anyone that's actually being reasonable and nuanced, that becomes clear. But what I will say is, like, him talking to me more about the reality, the lived experience of the incel, or what it were, not that, what their life is like, and what they do, and what's impacted them, and why they are the way they are, and why they believe they're an incel, in terms of, like, their difficulties with, like, meeting girls that they want, and they're just like, all the girls have been ruined, and, like, they're like short and fat and may have, like, a small dick and stuff like that. They don't have, like, self-confidence. They've spent too much time in front of the computer. They're medicated, like that. They've been, like, fucked over in, like, a lot of ways, and they feel like, there's anger there towards the people who they perceive caused all this. There's anger towards, like, women. There's like it's a whole mishmash of stuff. And I will say that it's one of those things that, like, it's not as though I hadn't considered these things, but one of the reasons I do like talking to him is that he articulates things in a way that I sometimes just don't think about, or is a different, he is a very different teacher than I am. Extremely different. And so he might say something in a way that gives me a different perspective on something. Even if I fundamentally kind of considered those things, there's still other things, like, you have those aha moments, like, oh, okay, I understand this better now. So I definitely did have some of those aha moments when he was talking to me about, the incel experience, and why they are incels and why incels are a real thing and yada, 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 yada. What I didn't like so much was he felt like I said earlier, he felt like he was defending his audience. I felt like he was trying to dunk on me unnecessarily on something that I don't actually really care if we disagree on this. I don't actually really care if we disagree on anything. I'm kind of like, I'm at the point with pretty much everything that I don't care about convincing anyone of anything. And so whether or not he and I saw eye to eye on it, like that didn't really matter to me, but he thought that because I was pushing so hard because I was trying to convince him, that's just like my argumentation style. This is why I don't do debates. I do not like the person that I am when I'm debating someone, and I particularly don't actually want to be that person around him because I can be a raging bitch. Like much worse than anything I've said to him. And I think some of you guys know this because I've had moments, okay, whatever. But like I don't want to get like I don't care about convincing anyone, and that's part of why I don't do debates to begin with, because I do not like the person I am when I'm in like a debate trying to convince someone of something, because I go much harder than even I went the other night. He doesn't know that. He thought I was debating him, and so there's a miscommunication. But like I actually retain my position on this. And one of the things that I was annoyed about is that I don't feel as though he was characterizing my position in good faith. And I felt like he was doing the thing that like the debate bros do, where they take something and they twist it just enough so that maybe it bears like a resemblance to what was intended, but it's just enough twisted that you're like, no, that's not it. And then I felt like I was getting put in a position of having to defend points that I wasn't even making. And so that really aggravated me. But I retain my position. I do not think incel is a real thing, and I want to explain more about why. And I don't mean this as any disrespect to young men who consider themselves to be incels, because I understand and I have actually quite a bit of empathy for like the position those young men find themselves in. Believe it or not, I know that sometimes I say things that I say very, very quickly and I say them very bluntly, and it's like I jump over a lot of nuance. Like when I say incels don't exist, okay, it's much more complicated than that. And that's not to say that I don't think the position that these young men have found themselves in is like they didn't do anything wrong. I don't think there's, I'm not trying to blame them for being incels. I'm not trying to say that their grievances are not real and legitimate, right? I just don't think that some of them realize that this doesn't actually have to be the way it is. And I do think there is a case to be made for people being more sensitive to kind of some of the struggles that young men have. I mean, I've said it a million times. Like, I wouldn't want to date today. Like, I really wouldn't, and I especially wouldn't if I was a lesbian, because I hate most women in general. I definitely hate most women today. I think they mostly suck. But as much as I don't think being an incel is their fault, they didn't do anything wrong, there's a lot of factors that contribute to it, most of which are out of their control. I also don't think that telling someone you can't, like, you are this thing and there's nothing that you can do to not be this thing, I don't think that's healthy. I think that, and he and I disagree on this, and that's fine that we disagree on this, I think that it is a really toxic thing to do, to be reinforcing a limited belief to, I mean, I don't want to call them a vulnerable population, because I think that they're more than capable Like, a lot of these kids are really smart. A lot of these kids are into cool things. A lot of these kids have like all the, and I call them kids because I'm old, okay? But like a lot of these kids like have a lot of potential to do whatever it is they want to do, and have like whatever life they want to have. And I think that if they're hearing from people that are older than them, from people that, I mean, I think BigTech has had a very different experience in his life than a lot of the people in his audience. He's really tall. He's good looking. He used to have hair. He, like, you know, I don't think he ever had any trouble getting girls. I would be very surprised if he shared a similar like experience with a lot of these kids, right? And I think that for the people in his audience, to have someone like him say to them, they can't help but be incels. I don't think that's a good idea. I'm sorry. I understand why he's doing it though. And I think that his position is that he thought that I was blaming them for the situation, or he thought I was, you know, saying that it was their fault or any of those things. And that wasn't actually my intent. What I was trying to say is, even in circumstances where you have a lot of things that are beyond your control and a lot of things that are less than ideal, you can still, yeah, this is exactly it. It's like he has the soft bigotry of low expectations. And you know what? Like, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say I'm sorry. And he can feel however he wants about this. He is a role model for a lot of those kids. And that's not maybe the job he signed up for, fine. But he is a role model for them. He's someone that a lot of them look up to. For a lot of people in his audience, like, they're on his stream like all the time. They spend so much time watching him and so much time listening to him. And I think that him saying that they just are incels and that's just the way it is, and don't you dare say that they can get out of this situation if they want to, I don't think that's a good idea, and I don't think that's helpful. I'm sorry. I don't think it's a good idea, and I don't think it's helpful, because I think that, can they snap their fingers and change everything about themselves overnight? No one can do that. That's not the way this works. But do I absolutely believe that a lot of those kids can get girls? Yes, I do. Like, no, I don't think it is. No. I don't think it is. And I think the fact that most people, like, I'm not saying that this is a joke. I'm not saying that these guys don't have legitimate grievances. But, okay, like, I'm going to use my lived experience to talk about this. Like, there are plenty of girls who like to date nerdy guys. Like, I think, what did he say, right? Like, you know, a lot of these guys are short, fat, and have a tiny dick. Well, guess what? When I was, and I like me using lived experience is his favorite thing in the world, but whatever, this is my stream and he can't interrupt me now. When I was 22 years old, I almost married the short, fat guy with the tiny dick. And believe me, he wasn't my only option. He was not my only option. I was dating all these guys in college. And listen, I want to say this too. Let me go back further. Let me go back further before I talk about the difference between the guy I almost married when I was young and stupid and the guys I was dating in college. Because I want to go back further. I also think with the incel question, what frustrates me and why I'm so fucking adamant that I do not believe that incel is a real thing. You know, the argument that he made to me is, girls can't be incels, Carlin. Girls can't be incels. Girls can't be incels. I call bullshit. I absolutely call bullshit. Now, is it the same type of thing that what the male incels are experiencing? No, it is not the same type of thing. I would make the argument that it's not as that, like, women who have the type of thing that I'm about to describe, I don't think it's as challenging as what men today are experiencing. I don't think it is. But I know that when I was younger, because of a lot of circumstances in my life, because I did like I've never been like the pretty girl, I've never been the thin girl, I've never had pretty privilege in my life. That is absolutely a real thing. I've always been weird. I've always been more of like an artsy, like kind of like outcast girl. Like a lot of people didn't understand me. And to be quite frank, I didn't have the most nurturing of home lives. And so I grew up knowing that my father never loved me, and he loved my younger brother, but he didn't love me. And so when you grow up like in the type of like I've talked about this several times on my channel, there were literally years in my house that I did not speak because every time I spoke, I was reminded just how my father thought of me. Well, when you grow up with your father fucking with your head 19 ways from Sunday, you might have issues with men. Let me tell you what. My father told me I was ugly all the time. All the fucking time. My father loved saying, "Carlin, you've been a bitch since you were 4 years old." Like stuff like that. Like, and it's not, I'm not saying, that I certainly could have had it worse on some levels, but like it emotionally fucked with me. Okay. And so by the time I was like 19 years old and I was the shy kid that barely talked in public, and would walk around with like my head down and my shoulders down, and had never I guess I had gone out on like a date here and there, but I never even saw myself worthy of like having someone be interested in me because my own father didn't love me. So why would any other man? Like it was like one of those, and like I didn't know this consciously at the time, but I've done a lot of unpacking. Okay. And so like by the time I was like 19, I had given up. I really had. I'd given up. I was like, oh, I guess I'm just like the ugly, like awkward girl. I wasn't what they would consider fat at this point. But like I was like, I heard I was ugly like all the time, right? And so I was like, well, I guess there's just no point. Like no one's ever gonna love me. No one's ever gonna want me. Like I had really given up. I'm not joking. And it was like through a sheer twist of fate that I met someone in college that would not allow me to view myself in that way. And I mean, we're pretty fucking severe with me about like, it doesn't have to be this way. This is ridiculous. You don't have to be like this. Like, and it was like, I mean, I don't even know why this person like took the time to like beat this into my head, but they did. And so, and it didn't change things overnight. Not at all. But because I had someone teaching me and pushing me and like really kind of like, that was like, that would not allow me to like fail, for lack of a better word. I was able to snap out of it. And this is why, like I say, like, I got to sleep with like all these like, hot guys in college, which is fucking true. But it was a leap. It was a fucking, like, I cannot even tell you what a leap it was. And if I hadn't met that person that said to me, this does not need to be the way it is, then I would probably have had a really different experience. And I would not be the same person I am today. And it's not just about getting guys and sex, but that was what it was about at the time, right? Because I was in college and I was young and stupid and like all that stuff. And that's what I construed as like love at the time. And like, that's a whole other kind of like psychological evaluation. Yeah, we watched that video. So I say this because I know I'm not the only woman that's ever had that experience. I've talked to a lot of women that have had like very similar experiences. And the thing is, I meant what I said when BigTech and I were talking about this. His position is like girls can't be incels because they can always get dick. Well, today, yes, is he right? Do I believe that any woman, regardless of pretty much any factor, can go out and find sex if she wants to? Yeah, I do. I believe that today. Now, you might not find sex with the person you want to have sex with. That's a different question. But can you go out and find a dick to fuck you? Yes. However, most women don't, or I shouldn't say most. I don't know that it's most. Many women don't know that. Many women do not know that. When I was 19 and I had given up on ever finding someone to love me because of all the reasons, I didn't know that. Like, it's not a perspective I was ever given. It's not a perspective that anyone had taught me. It was not a part of my experience at all in any way. And so, based on BigTech's logic at that time, because I didn't know, I was an incel because I didn't want to be in that situation, but I felt like I had no choice. So I have to say, like, and I know a lot of other women that have had similar experiences like that because, we might not have a whole internet fucking movement, all right? But it's not like women don't talk. And so I know I'm not the only person that's ever happened to. And again, I'm going to say this. Do I think that what I experienced is as severe as what men who consider themselves to be incels today are experiencing? I actually don't. I don't. I think they actually probably have it worse than I do. And so I'm not going to diminish what they're experiencing. I think it sucks. I think it sucks the plate that they were handed. However, that doesn't mean they can't change it if they want to. And I'm not talking about changing it in terms of like these fucking YouTubers who are like pickup artists and they teach them lines and stuff like that. And they teach them how to dress and they teach them, to go to the gym and live. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the way you see yourself, the way you work through the bullshit, because you know what? Guess what? Like, life is unfair. Some people get handed different things than other people. Everyone has different type of traumas. And we have choice, and that's not just true of incels. It's not just true of women who grow up getting told they're ugly by the people who should be not doing that. It's not just that. It's, some people have abuse in their childhood. Some people have, parents that were overbearing. Some people have, I don't know, there are any number of traumas that a person can experience in childhood that at some point in their adult life, they're going to need to get over. And I don't think it's fair to people to tell them it is impossible for you to get over these things, even if you were handed those things for reasons beyond your control. Because I think they can get over them if they want to. And what if they have someone telling them that there are girls out there who will date you that are not fucking crazy, that are not fucking Instagram models, that are not fucking whores, that are not any of these things. There are nice girls who you can find, and maybe it's hard, and let's acknowledge that it's hard, but it's not impossible. And there are a lot of girls, I'm sorry, that like geeky, nerdy guys. So going back to where I started, like when I was 22 years old, I almost married the short, fat guy with the tiny dick. That was just reality. He was a fucking nerd, and he was shorter than me, and he definitely had like a belly, and he was not blessed in some areas. But do you know what he did do? Is he was an extraordinary drummer. He was so talented. And he had been playing his whole life, and he went to school for it, and he was in all these rock bands, and I was really into like the music scene then, and he got me into like tattoo culture too. Like, he's basically the reason that I have all these tattoos, because I wasn't getting tattoos before I was with him. And he was just he was so cool in so many ways, and he was nice, and he was sweet, and he made me laugh, and he made me feel good. He was not rich. No. Bro, he lived with his parents still. He was not rich. Let me tell you that. But it didn't matter. And yes, well, I mean, this is the thing. Like can we just be blunt for a second? Because I'm just rambling here. I don't have like a script or anything. Yeah, like if you have a tiny dick, guess what? Can I give the incel some tips? You can compensate for it in other areas. And guess what? Most women don't orgasm from penetration anyway. You want to make a woman happy? Anyone can do this. You all have mouths. You all have tongues. You all use your mouths to run your mouths on the internet all the time. Okay, maybe you're not actually talking on the internet. You're typing. But you guys have mouths. You have fingers. There are other toys you can avail yourself of. There are other things you can do. I promise you, all is not lost. If you were not blessed in some areas, okay? In fact, those areas, and I'm not saying it's not nice, or I'm not saying it's not nice. I'm not saying it's, come on. But it's not all that matters. And really, it's one of those things that with girls and sex, like oftentimes, though not always, I've had my fair bit of unemotional sex in my life. Like, it's more of like an emotional connection. And if the girl likes you and you treat her well and you make her laugh and you make her smile and you're just like a reliable fucking guy, like, you don't have to let qualities like your height or your weight or anything else get in the way from like finding a girl. You just don't. I was thinking about this, like I said, I got like an hour and a half sleep last night because I was thinking about this incel question all night and whether or not I actually agreed with him or not. And so I kind of started running through like the guys I've dated in my life. And did I date like this fucking hot construction worker that like lived in Dorchester and had a like amazing Boston accent and was 6'4" and huge and so fucking good looking? Like, yeah, I did. Blue collar, by the way, not like fucking like, and that's another thing that I hear all the time, that apparently women don't like blue collar. They don't like the men that hold up the world or that they, can connect the electric lines and build the houses. And I keep hearing for some reason that women don't like these men. I fucking love these men. I married my fucking mover. But most of the guys that I've dated in my life, most of the guys that I've been like nerds, man. They've been nerds. They have been, listen, hang on. Let me show you this. I'll show you this. We're doing a special stream today, so I'll show you this. Hang on. Let me get into I need to get into my Facebook for this. A rare journey onto Facebook, which I don't usually like to go to, but it is necessary to make the point I'm gonna make. And I've showed people this picture before. It's not like a new picture you guys haven't seen. But where the fuck is it? There it is. Okay, there it is. So the guy, the most infamous guy that you guys all know that I dated is Aaron, the one who went to prison. But I want to make a point about this. Aaron, when I met him, was not this big, like the big muscular guy that came out of prison. And he got even bigger than this. And I know I've got some super chats. I'll take those super chats in a sec. And he got even bigger than this at some point. Like, he's tall. He's like 6'1", and he got like super muscular in prison. But the point I want to make is this picture of Aaron right here. Aaron was a tall, fucking skinny computer nerd when I met him. We were juniors in college. And he spent most of the time behind his computer because that's how he made his money. And he wrote a credit card processing program. That's the thing that got him in trouble. He processed credit cards and he shouldn't have fucking processed, but he didn't know what he didn't know what was on the sites. And so that was the whole deal. But anyway, like, he was a computer nerd. I'm sorry. Like, I think I was like the second girl that Aaron had ever like slept with or something like that. Maybe not. Maybe I'm misremembering, but like he was a fucking nerd. These are the type of men that I've dated. And so it's like, when I hear people say, and you know, listen, like, he is tall, so he does have that. I mean, he was tiny. Maybe other areas it could have been better. Maybe other areas it could have been better, but he never, like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll say whatever. Aaron can be pissed at me or not. Whatever. I don't care. Like, Aaron did not have the biggest dick in the world, but Aaron is one of the best lays I've ever had, because you don't need to have a giant fucking cock to please a woman. And maybe there are men out there that feels like, maybe there are men that actually need to hear that. This is the point. It's like, why are we telling men that you are doomed to be an incel if you're short, fat, and have a small dick? Well, some men just aren't as blessed as others. That's the way it goes. Why are we telling them that is like a fucking death sentence in terms of them finding girls? It's probably not. It's just not. And maybe they need to hear that from people. Maybe they need to hear that. I mean, maybe it doesn't make a sense to hear it from the guy who talks about how giant his cock is on the internet, but maybe it makes sense for people to hear it from other people, that it really doesn't matter all that much. And it's certainly not something that you should allow in your way of trying to go out with girls, because it's just not the thing that matters. You know, I'll show you guys another. Hang on, let me see if I can find this picture. You guys will love this picture. Hang on. This is not of Aaron. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, though. We'll see. Hang on. One sec. Oh, here it is. When I first met Victor, Victor is my height. He's not the tallest guy in the world. He doesn't like that. He does not like that. He wishes he was taller. He was so fucking skinny when I met him. And he was a mover, so he did have muscles and like all that. He was teeny, 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 tiny. The reason I'm bringing up Victor is, like, I don't remember where he said that, but like, I had some conversation with BigTech where like he's like, "Oh, you're Chad husband." And I was like, and I almost like burst out laughing when he said this to me, because I was like, my husband's not a Chad. And that's not to say I don't adore my husband. Obviously, I adore my husband. My husband is awesome and I love him and all this stuff. My point is that when I met Victor, he's short, he's skinny, he is a nerd, man. The reason I say my husband's not a fucking Chad is he is a nerd, and he will own this. He won't be upset at me saying this. He is a nerd. He doesn't know how to talk to girls. He doesn't he doesn't have game. He really doesn't. Like, I did the picking up of my husband. All right. I was the man at the start of this relationship. He became the man in other ways not long after that, but he didn't have game with girls. He does have a giant uncut cock, so I lucked out there. I will admit that. Like, he has that going for him. But my point is that this is the type of men that a lot of girls fucking like. You want to know why? Because he made me laugh, and he made me smile, and he took care of me, and he has a sexy Ukrainian or Russian accent. He's from Ukraine, but he speaks Russian. Like, all the other stuff, it doesn't matter. His height doesn't matter. I've dated people there's one guy I dated that was short and definitely like pudgy. Like, he he had a belly, and he did not have the biggest dick in the world. And like, but he was, again, like, funny, nice, made me smile. Like, and I've been going through the list of like the men that I've dated, and guess what? The guys that you might consider to be like Chads, they usually end up being assholes that don't treat women well, and that just get off on being the Chad and being the tall guy or being the successful guy and like all the like. Do you know how unsexy it is when men have to like flaunt? At least for me, like flaunt their success or their stuff or like any of these things. It's annoying and it's boring. And the guys that I've really loved, that I've, been with more than any other, are quite frankly the short, sometimes fat, sometimes super skinny nerds who didn't really have game with girls. I mean, and again, I know I'm not alone in this, because I know a lot of other women like me that would say exactly the same thing. They love men like that. And here's the thing too, and I want to like talk about the Groypers a little bit and what I know about the Groypers, because, some of the Groypers are not happy that I'm going to AFPAC, and some of them are happy that I'm going to AFPAC. Like, there are actually like a bunch of Groypers that, for reasons beyond my understanding, like me. I'm in one of their group chats. They're kind of always doing this like flirty thing with me, and I think it's adorable. I really do. And one of the things that I appreciate about the Groypers, and they consider they're incels, right? This is like one of their prides, is they're incels. Once you get over the fact that the Groypers are a pain in the ass, because they're like it's actually kind of sweet though. They're like a club. They defend Nick. They defend his honor. They stick up for each other. And it's actually it's kind of sweet, honestly. But once you get past kind of like the pain in the ass Groypers, a lot of the Groypers are actually very nice and very sweet and very endearing and funny, and they're smart. And I'm not saying I want to date them or anything. I'm way too old for them, and I'm way too much of a girl, and I'm an e-girl, and they're not allowed anyway, even though I don't think I'm an e-girl, but they think I'm an e-girl. Fine, whatever. I'm not suggesting this, like I'm not saying this in like a sexual way or anything like that. I'm just saying that I find them endearing and I find them sweet. And I'm going to be learning at AFPAC what a lot of them look like, because a lot of them don't use their photos online. And what I suspect I'm going to find are young men who could damn well get women if they wanted to. Maybe I phrased that the wrong way. They could get women if they could allow themselves to break out of this idea that they are incels and that's all they're ever going to be. They're men that could find girls if they allowed themselves to see it as a possibility. Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm going to pinch Carlin's ass when I'm drunk at AFPAC and then run. Please do this. Please do this. That would be hilarious. I wouldn't even be upset. Would not. I wouldn't even be mad. And I guess the reason I'm kind of so adamant about this is for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you're saying that AFPAC is tomorrow night, they're all fucking around at Turning Point or something right now. I'm hanging out because I'm going to bed early because I got an hour and a half of sleep last night. So there are a couple of reasons that it just like really fucking bothers me, this idea that we have to say they're incels and like you can't ever question that they're incels and all that. If that's true, then that's something that like should reflect on women who find themselves in situations like I found myself in when I was younger. And that's, again, not an insignificant amount of women who really just don't understand, because it has not been a part of their experience at all, that dick is available to them if they want. They like, you don't know what you don't know. And so it's kind of like, I look at that and I think, well, if someone had said that to me, that you just are like the ugly girl that isn't thin enough for anything, and that like, you're quiet and you're shy, and like you like all this stuff that I was when I was younger because of reasons, like I look back at that and I'm like, thank God that someone smacked me between the eyes, to smack, like figuratively, to snap out of it. Thank God that happened. Thank God I had that influence in my life. And I want other people that are in a similar situation, whether they be men or women, to have that influence in their life, because I think it will lead. It's kind of like one of those things where, like, you know, when you get older, and of course I'm 29, but in real life I'm older than that. When you get older, I think you can look back at things and say, why didn't I figure this out sooner? Does anyone else have that kind of thing where, like, there's like you have these epiphanies as you get older where you're like, oh, I didn't understand this for 20 years, but now I get it. I didn't understand this for 30 years, but now I get it. Like, something has clicked, and you start to understand things that you look back and you're like, holy fucking shit, I should have probably realized this like a decade ago. And my life would be a lot easier if I realized it like a decade ago. And, you know, my life would probably be a lot better had I realized this a decade ago. And what the fuck was I even doing? Because that was right in front of me all the time, wasn't it? And I just didn't realize it because I wasn't paying attention to it. Or maybe I had these influences in my life that were telling me, were reinforcing a negative perception when in fact something else would have been better. You know, I think that, I mean, I don't know, I don't want to speak for incels or anything, but I think that one of the things that they probably experience, if they're even able to like find girls that they consider to be acceptable to, like, you know, try to get or whatever, is they probably experience rejection. And it's like one of those things where, you know what I wish I had learned earlier? I wish I had learned earlier in my life how to deal with rejection in terms of not seeing rejection as a repudiation of who you are, not seeing rejection as something that's the end of the world, not seeing rejection as something that is an impingement on, like, it's not your, like taking, like, being too hard on yourself when you get rejected. And this could be rejection from any number of things, by the way. It could be rejection from dating, it could be rejection from a job, or like something you want. Just like I'm talking about rejection generically. I wish I had learned earlier in my life that most of the time rejection has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. And if you look at it in a different context, you can frame rejection, or all the times you tried and you were told no. Like, I think you can look at this as, like, I've been told no 95 out of 100 times, and I'm just tired of getting told no, because it can get hard to be told no over and over and over and over and over again, right? But what if you can frame it as, I had to go through the process of getting 95 no's to get those 5 yeses. Like, the rejection is part of the process to finding what you're supposed to find. And sometimes you have to go through a lot of rejection. And the time that I learned this was when I had to start doing sales calls for when I started my organizational psychology practice. I had to do my own sales calls. I couldn't outsource that. I couldn't afford that, right? And I hate doing sales calls. I hate it to this day. I hate it more than anything else. I hate I hate calling, like cold calling people or cold emailing people, or having those meetings where you're like, you feel like you're selling yourself and you have this brand. And like, I fucking hate this more than I can even goddamn express. But one of the things I learned with sales calls is that you will get told no. Like if you just make 100 sales calls, at least 5 of them are going to convert. But you might have to go through, almost guaranteed. This is just like statistics. If you make 100 sales calls to 100 targeted organizations, like 5 of them are going to convert into yeses. The problem is, in order to get those 5 yeses, and maybe it'll be more if you're really on your game, you do have to go through the shit. You do have to make call after 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 call in which you are told no. And that sucks. It sucks really, really, really bad. But the point is that if you can reframe it to see getting told no as actually a positive thing, because okay, you crossed it off your list. There are a million other people you can call. There are a million other things you can try. Like, just go do something else. And if you can teach yourself how to do that, you're going to be able to better handle when you get told no when you don't want to. And I'm sorry, incels, but I think the same is true with picking up girls or picking up boys, for that matter, whatever is your thing. I think that if you keep getting out there and you keep trying, even when you get told no a ton, if you go out and you start finding girls in different ways, please, for the love of God, get off dating apps. Like, dating apps are like the worst idea in the history of humanity. It is setting people up for like internet relationship and failure. There are still places that you can meet girls, like church, like community groups, like, I don't know, the library. There's all sorts of stuff to do with the library. There's things you can do to meet girls in the real world in which you are connecting with each other around a shared set of interest and values. And if you get told no by one girl, or you don't get the girl that you want, like, it's the hanging on to that and being like, and it's going to happen. And you're probably going to go through some girls, like, you're probably going to get told no a lot. But like, if you just keep going out and engaging in activities that you like, in like group settings, eventually you're going to meet someone. And I know that involves getting off the computer, and that is terrifying. And I'm not like not acknowledging that. But if you are going to let yourself sit behind the computer because you're scared that women will judge you for how you look, you're scared that women will judge you for, how tall you are or how much you weigh or any of those things, and that's what's keeping you sitting behind the computer, because you don't want to show yourself to the world. I get that. I really do. But you also have to know and have someone in your life to tell you that you can also make a different choice. And is it really uncomfortable to put yourself out there like that? Is it really uncomfortable to, set yourself up when and it's so nerve-wracking at first, and you know that you're probably not going to get the answer you want, and it doesn't feel good, but like, I don't know a better way to say it than, if you keep going out there and doing it, it's going to get more comfortable. You're going to start to acclimate to it. I don't like being on video. I don't like being on the internet. I hate having my picture taken. I absolutely hate it. Because I look weird in pictures. I look weird in like all pictures ever, unless I'm the one taking them and I'm the only person that's allowed to take pictures of me, and that's it. But you know what? Guess what? I've been doing the internet thing for 4 years now, and I'm much more used to it than I was when I started this 4 years ago, when I could barely even be on video for you. Like, that's the God's honest truth. There were videos, actually, before I went viral on the internet, there were videos that I created back in the day when Joshua and I like first started working together, that I would show Joshua these videos, and he would be like, "Carlin, you cannot show this to anyone ever. You look miserable. You look awful." Blah, 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 blah. Like, I used to suck on video, and now I've got an audience. I'm teaching people on video. I feel much more comfortable. And the moral of the story I'm trying to get across is, like, if you just show up and you just practice and you just do things over and over and over again, like, it's going to get easier and you're going to get better at it. Like, you don't need some fucking YouTuber telling you how to dress and how to like have Riz or whatever the word you kids use is. You don't have to have someone teaching you this, like the stupid, like, don't listen to Sneeko, okay? like there are people on the internet. Don't listen to any of these fucking pickup artists on the internet. Just learn to appreciate yourself for the things that you like and the things that you do. And one of the things that I do like understand about the Grapers is that a lot of them are really smart. Like, I bet a lot of them have interests for things that they could do outside of their computer, and maybe they just haven't thought about it because they're young, a lot of them, and oftentimes young people don't understand the things that we think that maybe they should because they haven't had that experience, and that's just the way that goes. But maybe it's something that someone just hasn't said, hey, you know what? There's this community group at the library where it's a lot of young people your age, and it's boys and it's girls, and you're all doing things that you like to do. And maybe, like, why don't you go and hang out with them for a couple hours every week, and you're going to get to meet people, and you're going to get to make new friends and stuff like that. And they're going to be like so nervous. And I understand that. I'm acknowledging that. But like the resource exists. And maybe they just don't know it exists because they aren't even allowing themselves to think of it as a possibility. This is my point when I say that incels don't exist in a much more long-winded way than I was able to say on the stream the other day. Because I feel like and you know, whatever, like I feel strongly about this, that I don't want to see young men make themselves this problem, make this problem bigger than it needs to be. Because I acknowledge that it is already, like, there are problems, there are challenges, there are legitimate grievances that incels have. I get it, okay? But if you're compounding the problem by saying that this is all I can ever be, you're not going to, like, you're not going to be able to live your best life, bro. That's what, like, that's it. You have to see that there's a way out. You have to see a reality. Maybe it's a far reality in the future, and maybe you're a long way off from it now. But for whatever you want to try to achieve, like if you want to meet a girl, a nice girl, and have a family and get married and have kids and like do all this stuff and raise them all Catholic, of course, and all obsessed over Nick, like whatever. At some point, you're gonna have to go out and meet girls. You're gonna have to learn how to do this. And might you feel at a disadvantage in the world? Yeah, sure. But I don't think you're giving people any more of an advantage by saying you can't get out of this problem. You're short, you're fat, you got a small dick. No one's ever going to love you. I don't think that that's the right solution to it. I think the solution to it is that they need people telling them that, yeah, bro, like the situation you're in sucks. But maybe we can, like, maybe there's a different, maybe there are things you can do that are not following these fucking pickup artists on YouTube, that are just, maybe there is a possibility of you changing this, and it doesn't need to be this way forever. That's what my point is. When I say that there's no such thing as an incel, I don't mean that there aren't young men that are having that experience. I mean that A, the experience is much more nuanced than I think they understand, and B, I think they need to hear that there is a possibility in which they will not be incels anymore. That's what I mean. And that they can make the choice to do things that are going to feel really uncomfortable and really scary, but that ultimately, if they keep showing up and they keep doing them, they will be able to get a girlfriend, and they will be able to have sex, and they will be able to find someone that's going to love them, and they will be able to get married. And maybe it won't happen overnight, and maybe there's going to have to go through a lot of girls. Fine. But there are people out there for everyone. That's what I want these kids to hear. Well, again, I don't think that this is true. Like Swifty says, maybe there's a girl out there who will tolerate your shortcomings if you go out of your way for her. I mean, listen, I think that going out of your way for a girl when you're first getting to know her is like, you know, it's a balance, right? Because it is a nice romantic thing to do, to go out of your way for a girl, right? But maybe couldn't it just be about you find a girl that you guys like the same stuff, and you enjoy doing that stuff together, and you, like, it's not necessarily about going out of your way, but like, you know, make the girl laugh, make sure she has a good time, like make sure, like, you know, like stuff like that. I think that goes a longer way than people think. Like, you don't need to have like the perfect suit or the perfect body or the perfect look or the perfect car or any of these things. You can just be who you are, and that can be enough. And if you go out there and you get yourself in the right situations, and you got to figure out what those situations are, eventually you'll get the reciprocation of that. Dick says, I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying. It's not impossible. It's just hard. Yeah, and I'm acknowledging that it's hard, bro. I really am. I understand that it's hard. And that's why like I don't want people to think, based on, you know, the argument of the other night, that I'm dismissing that it's hard. But what I want you guys to hear is that other people have similar types of struggles to this. That's not to diminish your struggle. That's to say that there are some women who struggle with stuff like this. There are other types of people who struggle with stuff like this. The reason I think it's important for you to hear that is because there are examples all the time of people who overcome the reality in which they have been given for reasons beyond their control. And if they can do it, then why can't you do it? Why not you? Are you worse than them? Probably not. Again, the Groypers that I've met, and I am actually looking forward to going to AFPAC and like meeting some more. I'm actually looking forward to going and seeing the Groypers. I know this might sound weird, and I understand that, okay? Like, I am actually looking forward to like seeing the Groypers in person and experiencing them in person, because some of the ones I've experienced online are smart, and they are very sweet, and they are very nice. Once you get over that they can be assholes, okay? Like, and some of them are really funny. Do I think these are all people that can get girls? I'm sorry, they've got good personalities, they've got good senses of humor. Okay, maybe they shouldn't talk about Hitler right off the bat. Maybe we should put Hitler in our back pocket and save that for another time. Maybe they shouldn't lead with the fact that they're obsessed with Nick Fuentes. Okay, like they're like, you know, sometimes you got to put your Groyper life over here and your dating life over here, you know. But we agree that it's hard, not impossible. I think the difference is in the approach. All the effort goes into being attractive to women is probably better spent into fixing the world that's ruined women. Well, listen, I understand why you think that, but here's the thing. Like, if you put all your energy into fixing the world that's ruined women, then that's a really big task, bro. That task is more difficult than the task of finding a girl that's going to love you. Fixing the world is so much more difficult than finding a girl. Now, if you want to do that because it gives you community and it gives you camaraderie and you're friends with the other Grapers and incels that are doing it, and it makes you happy, and that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. But maybe you can even do a little bit of both. Maybe you can try to save the world and establish a Christian monarchy and all this stuff. And maybe you can sometimes take some time out to go to a club or something in your community, or a church or something that's having like a fucking youth social. I don't know how people meet people. Like, I married my mover, okay? Like, I don't know how people meet people, but I know there are like activities that you can do with other young people, some of which are girls, that are going to revolve around shared interests. And maybe just for a couple hours a week, you can go do that. And then you can spend the rest of your time obsessing over Nick and trying to make the world Catholic again, you know? Let me see. I'm just looking in the chat. It's like inflation in general. Groypers can be successful in the current economy, even if your dollar buys you less. Groypers want. Well, yeah, I mean, but this is the thing, and this is actually a beautiful example. Like, the current economy sucks. Inflation sucks. But can you still be successful in this economy? Oh yeah, there are plenty of ways to be successful. So just got to figure them out. Anyway. So AFPAC is tomorrow, and I am actually, let me get these super chats. I've been ignoring these super chats and I feel bad. Rottweiler says, although extreme, take a look at someone like Elliot Rodgers. All they had to do is throw pity parties at each other. It's a constant feedback loop of teenage resentment, and BT is stuck in that loop. I don't think he's stuck in that loop. I don't. For reasons I'm not going to go into right now. I don't think he is stuck in that loop. That is not my read on the situation. I appreciate why you might think that, but I think listen, I don't agree with him on this question. And I wanted to explain my perspective more fully. And that's why I'm doing this stream. Because I do feel like this is important and I think this is a perspective people need to hear. But what I will also say is he has much more direct experience with incels than I do. I can kind of like have some Groypers in my audience and I can talk to Groypers on the internet, but he's just been more like ingrained in that community than I am. He understands it to greater depth. And he has very distinct opinions about what is going to serve that community. And I think that I don't think that I think he's actually like, he's trying to serve them. He's trying to like give them a place to go, I think, is my interpretation. And he doesn't want them to feel like the situation is their fault. And so he has a different perspective on what's going to help them than I do. And I think we should be allowed to have a different perspective on what's going to help them. And listen, man, like, no one has to listen to either of us. If there are incels and Groypers out there that think I'm full of shit and I'm just making all this up, fine. Like, they probably don't want to listen to a girl anyway because they're mad at women because of their situation, and I understand why. And so, like, if they don't want to listen to me, they don't want to listen to me. But the problem is that I do know that because I know I have Groypers in my audience. I know I have incels in my audience. And if maybe hearing it from a girl, that some of them I think, if that's the thing that plants the seed in their head to say, you know what, I know, like, I really don't want to do this, but maybe I should try this. And maybe it doesn't even turn into anything for a long ass time. Like, I'm comfortable with my choices of talking about my perspective, because if it plants like one nugget in someone's head and then they end up changing their life because of that nugget being planted, and maybe they just hadn't heard it that way before or whatever, I think that that's success. I think I think BigTech disagrees with that perspective. He considers success to be something different. He's allowed to disagree with it, and he might conceivably be right. I could be talking on the internet for no reason and it doesn't help anyone. That is entirely fucking possible. So it's just a different perspective, and I don't read anything negative into it. Babylon B tweeted yesterday, attractive female saying wokeness is gay-tarded instantly became the world's most popular conservative influencer. Yeah. Yep. I heard you're staying at the Enemies Hotel. Yeah, there was definitely a big turning point sign when I walked in. I mean, I think they're at a bunch of hotels probably, but I guess it doesn't really surprise me considering the hotel I'm staying in. And thank you for the super sticker, Bad Cat. Appreciate it. Let me just scroll through the chat. No, I'm not streaming from AFPAC. I'm not recording anything at AFPAC. I'll talk about my experience later, but I just want to go and experience it. Yeah, it's my job to get I'm making it my personal mission to get all the incel Grapers girls. I'm gonna get all the I'm gonna ruin Nick's virgin army by giving them helpful advice that's gonna all get them laid. Wouldn't that be funny? That's not my actual goal. I'm just kidding. But that would be kind of funny, actually. Let's see. You can see my screen. Well, no, you can't. I actually don't look too bad considering I've had an hour and a half sleep and been up since 3:30, something like that. But we're going to put these on because I think they look cool. Whatever. No, I will not be speaking at AFPAC. I'm going because Nick very generously offered to buy me a plated dinner as a VIP, okay? And so who am I to turn that down? I'm going to go listen to some speeches. That's going to be it. But I am excited about AFPAC. I don't really know what to expect. I do have the Groyper shell with me. I need to block it while I'm thinking about it, not right now when I get off the stream. And I don't know, like I'm gonna be having lunch with Mark Meets World tomorrow, and I'm excited about that. Mark Meets World is an activist that is like in the same space as me, and they live near Detroit. And some of you know Mark from the chat. He hangs around, and so yeah. So I'm having lunch with him tomorrow, and then I'm going to AFPAC later in the night, and I don't know where it is yet because they don't tell you until the last minute. And well, I just did a whole stream on my opinion, which is he is not right on that particular issue. And what I would really like is if his audience would not further inflame the situation, because I want the two of us to be able to work together, Map. And my audience right now needs to be somehow meshed into this situation to make that possible, okay? So can we not inflame the situation any further? I don't think I'm asking too much. He and I have very different audiences. I need to take care of the needs of my audience while still, I hope, being able to work productively with him. This is not fucking helpful. Thank you. That's all I'm asking. All I'm asking. All right? Jesus. Nick has, like, you keep saying this. Nick got kicked out of Turning Point USA like an hour ago. Did he get kicked out again? Is there something else that happened again? Does anyone have any questions that they would like me to answer? He tweeted an hour ago that he got kicked out. Oh, Cassandra Fairbanks says, I would way rather go to AFPAC than a Turning Point USA event. I'm going to retweet it. Me too. What are my thoughts on yogurt? Well, it really depends on the yogurt bot. You know, I do not like drippy white yogurt that has the texture of mayonnaise, but I can go for Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is cool. But like if it has that drippy texture that's too similar to like mayonnaise, and no. And I don't care if it's white or not. No, it is a texture specific issue. I think I did give some sage advice. Well, be appropriate. All right, bro. Come on. Come on. We don't need to get lewd. Was the dress blue and black or white and gold? Oh, fuck. I think I saw it as blue and black. I don't remember though. No, they haven't announced who's speaking at AFPAC, I don't think. I don't want to take pictures. I feel like taking pictures would be a violation. They're streaming everything. Why do I need to take pictures? Oh, from one Groyper gal to another. Are girls allowed to be Groypers? I keep saying I'm not. I'm like way too much of a girl to be a Groyper. I am nervous about AFPAC though. I'm nervous. I feel like this is one of those things where it's either going to go really good for me or really bad for me. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna be canceled from everything just for being there. Like one of those things. I'd be like, I don't even agree with him. Where like are you like? Well, I don't know. Is everyone there going to be young and I'm going to be like the oldest person there, and I'm going to be like the only girl and it's going to be awkward? Like, I don't know, maybe. Tell me where it is and what you guys are doing, and maybe, I don't know. But I don't want to be the only girl there, and I don't want it to be the only girl that am I going to be the only girl there and the oldest person? Is it going to be like I feel like I'm like a chaperone or something like that? I don't know. Get some other people to say that they want me to come, and maybe I'll come. I don't know. Do you guys actually want me to come to your party though? Seriously? Because like I don't want to just like, I'm open to the idea of it, but like I don't want it to be weird, okay? I'm cool just hanging back. You guys are doing your thing. You can see me tomorrow. We can hang out at the after party. I don't know. I think I'm probably going to go to bed pretty early tonight though, because I am actually like legitimately really tired. But I am also slightly curious at the same time. I'm basically aging in reverse. Like this is the fucking problem. This is the shit that I really should have done in my 20s. I mean, well, to be honest, like I did a lot of crazy shit in my 20s. So it's not like I'm not saying like I missed out on my 20s, but like this is the stuff I should have been doing. Well, I should have been doing more of this stuff back then, I suppose. Do I like anime? No. I don't understand anime. Yeah, I don't want to be like the professor that shows up at the frat party. You guys are like, you guys are young. You guys go do debaucherous things that I don't have to know about, and you know all that stuff. No, I'm not going to record the Groypers in their native environment. That's not going to happen. Listen, I'm not going to break the trust of the Groypers. Oh my, I should go get kicked out of Turning Point USA. No, I'm not that motivated. I don't need to stage a getting kicked out of an event stunt. Does anyone have any suggestions for things I should do in Detroit? Like besides the restaurant where all they make is like giant baked potatoes, like is there anywhere I should go? Is there anything else I should see? I'm kind of afraid to go outside. I'm not going to lie. Like I don't know how much time I want to spend like outside wandering around Detroit by myself. Yeah, see, well this is what worries me. All right. I'm not sure that this is a role that I'm ready to take on. I can give sage advice every now and again, and I think I do a pretty decent job of it when I'm giving sage advice, but my hair looks crazy because I got up at 4 a.m. Well, 3:30. Something like that. I don't know. No, I'm not going to visit 8 Mile. That seems like a bad idea. Yeah, I don't want to get mugged. I've been watching the new season of The Boys, and they're making fun of all the Zionist pedo conspiracy theories. There was one reference to Pizzagate. I don't even know what that show is. I don't watch TV shows that much. I don't have time for this shit. Like, there's no, like, people have been trying to get me to watch some show on Netflix about a cult or something. I probably should watch that. What I really want to watch is Vikings again. From the beginning. Vikings marathon. All right. I don't really have anything else to say. So last call, ask me anything. Now is your chance to ask me some questions. Let me check and see what's going on Twitter, just in case there's any breaking news update. No breaking news update that is worthy on Twitter. Let's see. Bro, like, there is nothing sexier than the men in Vikings. All right? Nothing. Oh, yeah. Reminder, Joshua's going to be streaming at 9 o'clock tonight. Wait, is that tonight? I thought Joshua streamed on Thursdays. Is he streaming on Friday? It is Friday, right? I'm pretty sure it's Friday. No, I'm not going to stream Vikings. I'll get kicked off of YouTube if I do that. How are you going to handle the rowdy Groypers like Beardson and Wurzelroot? Are Beardson and Wurzelroot definitely coming? I feel like I haven't. I feel like I have not adequately prepared for this eventuality. I don't know. How do you think I should handle Beards in a Wurzel room? Oh, God. Fuck you, Autumn. I do what I want. I don't report to you. Autumn, you never offered to buy me dinner at a conference. Nick got there first. All right. You're just going to have to manage. Neither Beardson or Wurzelroot are coming? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Winning. That's the best news all day. I would never do that. I'm completely sober. Never, ever, ever do that. Definitely not on the internet. Am I taking the vape to AFPAC? I would never do that. I would never take my vape to AFPAC. That obviously wouldn't happen. You can't corrupt the Groypers. The Groypers are innocent and pure and would never do things like vape or drink or be scandalous and like roughhouse and like all you can't no. Autumn, you are not the boss of me, okay? Yeah. Reagan knows. Reagan is like my chat enforcer now. All right. I don't really have anything else to say, and I'm kind of tired, and I'm just going to hang out unless the Groypers somehow convince me, like if they, I don't want to go. No. That's a bad idea. No. It's a bad idea. All right. That is all I have. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. And I will see you guys when I see you. I will have an update. Maybe I'll... No, I'm not going to stream tomorrow. No stream tomorrow. We're going to maintain propriety. All right. That's all I have for right now, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.